Welcome everybody to another Empires and Puzzles Books interview. Today I have the pleasure to interview Asus from Hungary. Asus, if you can introduce your alliance name for us.
Yes, it is in Hungarian, magyar reménységek.
All right.
Hungarian hopes.
And I have her stat page up here so you can see the name of the alliance if you would like to find them. Is it predominantly a Hungarian alliance or do you have people from all over the world?
No, it is only for Hungarian players.
All right.
Because only a few of us can speak English. So we do only care about the Hungarian players.
All right, excellent. So there's a couple of reasons I was interested in talking to Asus. There's one, the fact that she's serving a unique population, because the game is available in a lot of languages, but Hungarian is not one of them. So she's doing a monster job of translating basically empires and puzzles for an entire country and beyond for other Hungarian speakers. So I think that is cool. I think where she's at in the game is interesting because she's you can correct me if I'm wrong, but you're cheap to play and probably a mid to high range player. You're starting to get into the higher level parts of the game and just started recently competing, which is where she and I connected via my live stream last month. She was also competing in the challenge event, and that was pretty exciting to go back and forth on scores and to see her progress as somebody who is broaching into the top 100 in an event for the first time. So that's sort of the direction we're going to go with this today. So if you can, Asus, give us a little bit of your background with Empires and Puzzles.
As you mentioned, I'm cheap to play. In the beginning, I started playing in 2019 May. And I was not an alliance member for 3 months. I started it as a really amateur. I just played this game for fun and do not care about the heroes. I had only 5 leveled heroes for 3 months because I didn't know that I will use more of them. So this is how I started the game, and I improved from this level. And when I started playing in an alliance, it was in August in 2019, and I met the war, and I thought that I need to use 6 teams. So this is how I started leveling my heroes and my roster. I didn't want to spend any money to this game because I used a lot of games before that one, and I never spent any money for a game. But I wanted to improve a lot more, and I wanted to be a competitive player later because I do not know whether you remember it or not. I asked you one time about Lady X from 7DD. That whether you would like to interview her or not. Where is she? I saw a lot of her videos, and I loved the game from her videos. This is why I started spending money on that. I wanted to receive the heroes she had and everything. And I saw a lot of videos of UCLA pack, but Lady X was a lot more mortal for me than UCLA pack. She's immortal to me. Oh yes, and I had the first Atlantis in October in 2019, where I had a 30 pool, and I received 3 Wilbur's, 2 Proteoses, and a lot of useful heroes. I did not receive any 5 stars. I only had Poseidon from a previous Atlantis and nothing more. But I love these 4 stars because at my level where I stayed there, they were so great. So I started leveling them. I wanted to level them as much as I can. So this is how I started farming processes. And after it, I turned to cheap to play and spent around $70 per month.
All right. Well, we can show your roster here. You actually have some really excellent heroes, especially for being cheap to play. So you've had some fortunate pulls.
Yes, I have.
I know some heavy spenders that do not have Alfreak, and you have 2 Alfreaks.
Yes, but I do not have enough top bars for them.
Yeah, I see that.
The very last items for me.
Yeah, I think that's one of the biggest struggles free to play and cheap to play have. Even if they get lucky on pulls, there usually is some investment to get to a place where you can get some more of the Ascension materials. But as you're learning, a way to do that is also through the events, and we're going to get to that in a little bit. But let's go ahead and look at your roster. So your maxed 5s on Dark. You have Freya, Jabberwock, Ursina, Kunshin, and Clarissa. So you got 5 of them up there. Holies, I'm impressed that you have a Professor Lindenbrock already maxed.
I love her.
Yeah, I haven't even started feeding mine yet. And then Odin, who is excellent. Anatel, Poseidon, Drake Fong, Malozi, Guardian Owl. That was an unusual pull. He's not a common one to get.
Yes, and imagine that Guardian Owl was my first maxed 5-star.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yes, because I built up my holy team for him because I did not have enough ascension item for Poseidon and the 2 of the Nist. So I built it up for Owl because if the others dies, he will shining.
Sure. I would guess that with 1.5 million to 2 million players, you might be the only one that maxed Guardian Owl first.
And I love him. I really love him. I think it's really useful if you find a strategy for him and if you are not paid to play.
Yeah, and then your ice, you got Fenrir, Glenda, Athena, who's very important, Vila, King Arthur, who is also excellent, Ajir. So you got 6 on the blues. The greens, we're looking at Frigg. So you lucked out with getting Frigg and Odin. Those are a good combination. And then costume, Liana, Taloria, Francine, Mother North, Kingston. And the fires, Elizabeth, Mitsuko, Gravemaker, Balder, Tyr. He's one of my favorites. Anzog, who I've not played much. I keep considering him, but I always end up going with somebody else. So you have a really decent roster for being cheap to play, and you've gotten obviously some mats to make things happen. So let's talk about your alliance. Did you start out with creating a Hungarian alliance, or did you start in other alliances before you created your own?
I mentioned you that I joined to an alliance in August, and around 3 or 4 months later, I became the co-leader. But for some reason, this co-leadership ended for me, and I started a new one. And I tried to find players for me from the previous alliance too, because of those reasons. So from 1.5 years, I am the leader of this alliance.
Nice, excellent. And are you a full alliance, or are you still looking for members?
No, not a full. We are still looking for members.
All right, excellent. What size Titans are you working on?
11 and 12 stars. It depends on color.
All right, excellent. And we have your recent war score here over 7,000 points. That is an awesome score.
Yes, and it happened week.
So let's talk about what got you motivated to try to go for a top score in one of the challenge events?
Um, my biggest motivation is the ascension item, which I can receive, because imagine that last year's January, and between January and June, I received only one 4-star ascension item from Titan, from Raid chest, Master chest, or any forces.
Wow.
And I I didn't want to spend money for the ascension item. Yes, I bought some of them. You know, the Guinevere offer.
Hmm.
I bought it a few times, but I didn't want to spend money only for the ascension item. So I started learning the competing in event, and I had a mentor for it from another Hungarian alliance. I think this is the top one Hungarian alliance. So he helped me a lot, and I checked your videos too. Whenever I started the level, I checked your video. How did you do it? And I calculated with the axes and arrows how much does they damage to the enemies. So I created my own strategy and I tried for it. And in last June, when I started competing in events, I successfully reached the top 1,000 in rare.
Hmm.
So it was really, really successful for me. And I had the motivation from me too for the other ones. And as you know, it was tonic was the reward for it. And the first time when the reward was darts in a challenge event, I tried for epic top 500. So from that time, I am competing in rare and epic. And last month, I tried for legendary top 1000, and it was successful. As I remember, I finished it 700 something
That's
place.
excellent.
Yes, I really loved it.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about the fact that there's over 1.5 million people to be in it's 700, I mean, that's huge. So congratulations on that. So do you have an idea, since you've started competing, how many 4-star Ascension items you've collected?
Oh, wow. Maybe it was 12 months ago, so at least 12 from rare, and maybe 10 from epic. So it is 22 altogether.
Yeah, and this is what I try to tell people, that those challenge events, if you're dedicated to putting the time into getting the good boards and knowing how to play the boards, it is a great place to get 4-star Ascension items. It's one of the hardest things to get in the game, and it's a competition for sure. And competition has been getting more intense every month that we get these. And you saw that there's a new challenge event coming out again. There's another new one.
You want challenge event?
It's in beta testing right now.
Oh, yes.
The Shadows,
Yes.
Slayers of Fell Shadows.
Yes, I translated it to my alliance. Yes, I show you.
Yeah, so that gives people an opportunity. It's actually a little cheaper to compete in the new events because they're only doing them 10 levels. So if you're replaying and farming boards, trying to get those good boards, it's a lot cheaper to do it for 10 levels than it is for 15. So I've been enjoying that. I wish they would all go back to 10. I find 15 tough, especially when you're trying to compete in all 3 levels. It's 45 levels. It's a lot of work to do in a weekend.
Yes, and it is really good for me because maybe we can expect it after Avalon. So 2 months later, and I need darts and tabart, and if it will follow Avalon,
Hmm.
I will do that one. So I have to have a lot of items, and I am preparing for Atlantis, and I am working on my new event teams. I work on a new Fire 3-star team and my new Epic team, which will be yellow. When yellow is not a reflect color, I always use them. I really love them. I have 3 jackals, as you can see,
Hmm.
and Wukong and Gretel. I leveled and emblemed Gretel only for her attack stats, but I received Griffin, so I was leveling Griffin and talent him. So I will try for the best team up. So we will see what will be the greatest one, but I have a big hope in these 2 teams.
Great. Let's talk about Starfall Circus. That's where you scored 44th place, a top 50. So you went from just trying to get into the top 1,000 to now you're in the top 50. What was different in that event for you? Why do you think you were so successful?
I did not planned it to be in top 100. My purpose was only the top 1,000, but some stages were so great for me, and I received great boards
Mhm.
and just so it worked out for me, but it was not planned. So I did not have any new strategies or anything. It just worked for me. I was lucky enough to have those great boards, and this is why I was successful in Legendary, because I received great boards, and I do not have those heroes you have, or other more competitive players, but those boards were really great for me.
Yeah, the boards are important, but you still need to be able to play them. So you're obviously doing something right there. I think one of the things that happens is the more we compete, the better we get at reading the boards and knowing what a
Yes, you
great
are.
board is. Like sometimes it's obvious that it's a great board, but sometimes in the first move or two, you got to see if it's going to change for you to become a great board. So I think you're going to get much better at that. So let's talk about this extra job you have in life and translating everything from Empires and Puzzles into Hungarian. That's got to be a major job.
Yes, it's a really huge job, and I have a lot of ongoing projects in it. I have a lot of heroes which I should translate. I always do the new version updates in time and the beta infos. So yes, because as I mentioned, only a few members of my alliance can speak English.
Mhm.
They before me, they did not know what the heroes will do, and are they worth leveling up or anything. So with these translations and my explanations, they know how to level them, which one they should level, because I do not only translate the English to Hungarian, but I understand them and try to explain them on that way they will understand them.
Yeah, I was really curious about how if somebody can't speak any of the in-game languages, how do they even know what the heroes are doing? I mean, as a native English speaker, sometimes the cards, like they're getting even more complex. So it's hard to read them sometimes and really understand. So I can't imagine enjoying the game and not being able to understand what each
Yeah.
hero is doing.
Just imagine that if you use somebody for the first time, oh, and you fire him or her, oh, so she does this. She good for this. So yeah, it is a really hard game for those one who cannot speak English, or if they do not have this game in their language.
Yeah, and there's actually another language in the game, which is the language of the in-game graphics, like all the icons for the buffs and ailments, like they all mean something. And if somebody can't explain them to you, I imagine that's got to be challenging just to try to learn what each of those little icons mean and how it affects the game.
Yes, these are my works to tell them and explain them everything. Yes, the new event is the limit breaker event, and it had rules for the elements. So yes, if I do not tell them what they should use or not to use, they will burn their word energy and so on.
Yep. So now, in addition to the big job you have already of translating the materials that are out there into Hungarian, you also are creating a whole lot of new material. So you're creating your own charts and graphs and things that aren't out there. I'm looking at a chart you sent me that is basically a year-long chart of when you can get 4-star ascension mats, from the seasonal events, the challenge events, the rare quests. So you're putting some time into doing these things too. I assume your community really appreciates that effort too.
Yes, because I wanted my alliance members to compete with me in the challenge event, and if they see what kind of materials they can receive, they would like to compete for them. And I always had the questions, when tonic will be available, or tablet, or tome of tactics, anything, and that's why I created that one.
Yeah, that's really great. Now, do you want to go ahead and give a plug for your Discord channel and talk about what's going on Discord?
Oh, yes.
So you have a Discord channel that's in Hungarian.
Yes.
So how can people find you on there?
Oh, I can send them invite. Maybe I can give you my name.
Are you okay giving it? Are you okay? Are you okay putting up your line ID so people can find you online?
Yes.
All right. So I will. People can see that right here. I'll put the line ID in so people can find you online, and they can ask about joining your Discord server. And I am showing some information here that you sent me from Discord. And again, great job on all the materials you're putting together. This is, I create a lot of material, so I know the work and effort that you're putting into it, and I know people appreciate it. So who else are you following on YouTube? Who have you found helpful?
Oh, UCLA Pack. Your channel. Yeah. Of course, Mr. Payne. I do not know whether I pronounce his name right or not. Klein from the Aggressive Alliance.
I don't know that I've seen their channel.
KLIM.
Okay, all right, yeah, no, I know. Yeah, Klein, yeah.
His channel, and Neo, because he receives the new heroes as soon as they are available. in the portal. I followed Lady X previously, and I think that's all.
All right. So what is your next goals?
My next goal is in the legendary top 100 because I received Athena in Taven when she was featured. Imagine that I received Athena and Gravemaker on the same day. So it was amazing. I did not play the game when Gravemaker was a hero of the month, so it seemed impossible for me to receive him. So because of Athena and King Arthur, I would like to try the top 100 when the reflect color will be fire, and I think this is the Riddles of Underland challenge event where the reflect color is fire.
Wonderland is nature. Grim Forest is
Green Forest.
Grim
Yes.
Forest is fire. Now, I have found that if you have a well-built team, as long as it's not the reflected color, you can often still be competitive. You just still need to find the right board.
But it is not enough for top 100. It is only enough for top 1000.
Yeah, the key, at least on the higher levels, often is Wilbur or Costume Gunner to get that shared damage. So if you build around a fire team or you have the makings of a strong ice team, you might be able to sneak Gunner in there. You have Gunner max with emblems?
Not with emblems, but I plan to emblem him because of the limit breaker. I saw his stats from your video.
Yep. Yeah, I was just pulling up your roster. I hadn't looked at the 3s and 4s, so I'm seeing that you don't have Gunner max with emblems yet. But yeah, he's crucial. Now, the good thing, as you know from competing, if you're being quick and you're only making 1 or 2 moves, your heroes don't take a lot of damage. So they can survive, but it's nice to get even a little bit of attack boost from the 3 stars when we use them.
I only talent them for attack node. I do not care about whether it is Hope Moon or Gunner or anybody, only the attack path, because I do not use them any other place. When I use them for raid tournaments, I think their stats in defense and health is enough for them.
Sure. Yeah, I tend to be very biased to attack as well. So.
Oh, and I leveled up my troops for the fire 3 stars and for the holy 4-star heroes.
I'll be excited to hear how your holy team works out. It sounds like you're building an interesting one.
Really, really well. I love them. Jekyll has 896 attack, as I remember. So the holy tiles are killing. Sure.
Yeah, it can be a very strong team. So we just need to get a shared damage hero for holy.
Yes, this would be great. Or a costume or anything.
Yep. Well, it's been excellent talking to you, and I'm going to wish you the best going forward. I look forward to seeing you in the top 10 soon in Rare.
Thank you. I hope for your live videos for the next challenge event.
Yep, they're up. So go ahead and check them out. If you've not seen the videos we're talking about, I do have a playlist for challenge events, and I have a specific video up on building teams for 3 and 5 stars. I did not do the 4-star team building video yet. And then I have walkthroughs from almost all of the challenge events, so you can see how I'm going about playing the boards. And I always encourage people to look at other people like Mr. Payne, UCLA Pack, other people who are competitive in the challenge events, because there's certain patterns, and the more you see them, you can kind of get used to the patterns. And then it's just a matter of identifying the board when you get one and playing it well. So I liken it to the slot machines where sometimes you play slot machines and when you win, it brings up a secondary game. And it's like that, where you're pulling on the slot, and then you hit the jackpot, you get the perfect board, and then you got to play that secondary game, which is actually playing the board incredibly well. So it not easy to do, but the patterns are out there and the heroes are out there, so it can be learned. And you're obviously proof of that.
Yes, everything can be learned. Yes.
And I'm glad to hear that you're jumping into epic and legendary. I stayed in rare for over a year before I started trying to compete in the others, just because I thought it was going to be too hard and too expensive. And it's actually not that bad. So congratulations on your top 50 in Circus. That was amazing. And we look forward to seeing more from you in the future.
Oh, and I wanted to mention one thing.
Sure.
I saw your video about title marking.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to talk about it because I introduced it to my alliance.
Mm-hmm.
And with me, 4 of our members tried it out, and we will do it continuously. So this is a really, really good thing to find available titans on global chat.
Mm-hmm.
Or the Dead Alliance.
Yep.
For one-star titan. So I suggest everybody to try it out because it is really, really helpful, and especially for cheap-to-play players.
Sure. So here's another tip for you that I learned since I did that merking video, and I'm glad that's helping. So let's say if 4 or 5 of you go out from your alliance to merc together, if you find
not always together, but in 2 or 3 parts.
Right, but I'm saying if you go out together, if you find a titan that
yes. Mm-hmm.
If you have
1 star and 88,000 health points, so we start killing it at the same time, and everybody can
get the A+. Yeah. Yeah, it's a good trick to do.
Yeah,
you just got to start attacking at the same time. Then everybody gets A+ loot. So good to know that you know that little trick too. Before we sign off, do you want to say anything to your alliance? Do you want to do a shout out in Hungarian?
Remélem minél többen fogtok csatlakozni a mi csatornánkhoz, és várunk mindenkit szeretettel ott, és a klánunkba is várunk még 7 tagot. That's all what I wanted to say in Hungarian.
All right, perfect. Well, it was a pleasure. I appreciate you making the time today. And we look forward to seeing you on the battlefield soon.
Yes, thank you.
Yep,
it was
thank
great
you.
to meet you. Thank you. Goodbye.